You know what I hate about officers? The officer versus enlisted thing is captain. One of the coolest titles. Welcome to another special edition of the After Action Podcast.
Hey guys, it's Chad here.
Dude, the honor and privilege is ours. You are now officially my favorite Army officer.
I outrank Eric Bartell, for those that don't know. Infantry Officer School was honestly, it's like the only time as an officer you can kind of be like a private. They basically tell you all of Infantry Officer School. If you don't pass Ranger School, you should just off yourself, you know?
Are you a Ranger?
I am. Ranger qualified.
No, don't do that. Yeah. That's secure to male loneliness, shooting machine guns with the boys and having
What's
limo.
funny is like I don't think I'll ever reach that level of like delusional confidence I had.
But before all of those things were happening, you were a young man growing up in a communist, in a state of California. Is that correct?
It's called the State of Jefferson.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of it, it's like this community out there that just declared like they want to be separate from California.
I'm gonna have to check out Jefferson now, the state of Jefferson.
Yeah, the state is self-declared state of
Dude,
Jefferson.
I'm sold on that. Sonny Actual, thank you for being here. This episode was sponsored by Medical. Every veteran deserves respect, competency, and clarity when pursuing a disability claim. Of course, we all know the frustration is much more common. If you're looking for a better path and documentation that strengthens your disability rating request, start with our sponsor, Medical. Re's team of professionals work with a network of experienced physicians, and they've already provided meaningful medical evidence for more than 25,000 veterans. And while they can't guarantee what the VA will decide, 95%, let me say that again, 95% of their clients reported receiving a disability rating of 70% or higher. That's because when you connect with Medical, they take the time to explain your options before you pay for anything. Free consultations. So don't give up on a stalled process or settle for an unfavorable decision from the VA. Cut through the frustration with accurate medical evidence and a streamlined approach that allows you to pursue your claim confidently. Head over to remedical.com, that's Romeo Echo Echo medical.com to book your free consultation. Check out our link in the podcast section for more details. And welcome to another special edition of the After Action Podcast. They're all special, but every moment that you're here with us, we appreciate it. Especially when we have such great guests like the one we have today. There are many people that are officers, but there are none that are as close to my heart as the man, myth, legend, Sonny Actual. Thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm excited to be on.
Dude, the honor and privilege is ours. You are now officially my favorite Army officer.
Nice. I outrank Eric Bartell, for those that don't know.
Yeah, real Eric Bartell outranks. Do you really outrank him? He's a captain.
No, we're both captains.
Dude. You know what I hate about officers, besides the way y'all rule over us in the military-industrial complex, but what I hate about officers, I don't really hate officers. That's just a joke. What I hate about the officer versus enlisted thing is captain. One of the coolest titles.
That's a cool title.
It's a cool title. Lieutenants, but like, that's fucking Captain Sonny, dude.
Yeah,
like
I didn't do anything as a captain, but I can still say.
But on the outside world, I remember applying for stuff once. So, and when I had a real job back in the day, I was I had corporal. When I was active, I picked up sergeant. That was like the last rank I got, and they were like, I was applying for a job, and they're like, "What'd you do?" And I was like, "Well, I was an E4 in charge of like a rifle squad, and had 15 Marines and sailors and like 15 Afghan soldiers. It was, like 30 people all together, all this stuff." I'm like explaining it to them, and they're like, "Well, we interviewed a captain who was like a captain over like some shop. It's pretty cool dude." And I was like, I did more than the captain, but captain sounds cooler, right?
Yeah.
Because like they're like,
the civilians don't know, dude.
Sergeant or captain? Who are we going with? Mr. Crunch or the idiot?
Yeah.
They went with him. And that's why we're here. But no, I can't thank you enough for your patience and your kindness and your content. It is one of the few things I look forward to when I'm reviewing content, as you know, and we'll get into it. You don't often consume as much as you create, or I try not to at least, because it messes me up.
Yeah, 100%.
But I look forward to everything you do.
Damn, appreciate that, man.
Yeah. It's like legitimately entertaining on all levels, and you're getting better, especially as you're in corporate world now with the stuff you're doing. Like, I think my new favorite one is you like looking at the platoon being like, Damn, that used to be
The depressed veteran
yeah,
video.
depressed veteran video. Have you seen that one, Blas?
No, I'll plug it in though.
Yeah. Depressed veteran. We'll plug it in here. It's incredible. This I used to be so, like you're looking at it like you're rubbing it.
Yeah, it's less about that skit was less about me personally because I mean I didn't do like the as far as the GWOC goes I didn't do the coolest things
Shut
ever,
up.
but it's based on some of like the special operations guys I know that are in like corporate jobs, and it's just hilarious to me that like
They took
at 20 years old they were like in Afghanistan alone
Yeah.
and afraid, and now they're like, yeah, I got a Teams meeting at 5:00.
It's hilarious. One, that they got hired because they probably shouldn't have been in those jobs in the first place. That's the number one thing I found in corporate America is especially special operators, combat people, to get a lot more grace than they probably should because they know a lot, but it doesn't mean like you need to be like an executive at Toyota.
Yeah, it's like you could do 100 push-ups. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, he's like trying to PT his like whole department. Get up! Are you quitting? We didn't quit. We didn't quit. We were on operation. Whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. The operation names are always cool. I don't want to say any that. No, I don't know any.
Classified.
Yeah, redacted.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy that they took the job, right? Because like even on the combat I did and everything else, I was always like, this will never happen again, but I didn't like operate independently and as fiercely as those guys did in some sense, because like, and then to come home and be like, so we're looking at shifting to the Microsoft suite now.
Yeah.
Like, here the suite has so many options available to us, and to have people explain to me like what a CRM is, like sounds like my absolute nightmare.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're doing it now, right? No, you're in the corporate world. Changes are happening. But before all of those things were happening, you were a young man growing up in a communist, in a state of California. Is that correct? You said communist California. I don't know why I said that, right?
No, California's a great state. I always got people always say that when I joined the Army. Grew up in Northern California, small town.
Where?
Davis. Shout out Davis.
Hey, shout out Davis. NorCal's really cool. Tyler Vargas Andrews is from there. He grew up in Folsom.
Yeah.
And another
Pretty close.
Another town, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he was up there.
Yeah.
Loves it.
Yeah,
Reps
they called
NorCal.
us, our nickname for our town was Cowtown. It's really big like agriculture, derogatory nickname. But
You guys are anti-cows?
no, we just had a ton of cows.
Oh.
And so like people were just like, oh yeah, Davis is just like Cowtown.
The cows were like in a gang. Like against you?
There's a lot of like our college mascot was like a horse. We're the Aggies for agriculture. Kind of a lame, not the coolest like mascot.
You're selling me on this. The longer you talk, I like this.
But Northern California is like totally different state than like what people think of California. Like you go far enough north, there's this place called I don't know if it's still there. It's called the State of Jefferson.
Okay.
If you've ever heard of it, it's like this community out there that just declared like they want to be separate from California.
Shut up, for real.
So they
Have
just-
you heard of this?
Yeah, so they just call themselves the State of Jefferson. So if you're driving to like Oregon, you'll see like a sign that's just says like "Welcome to the State of Jefferson."
I'll be damned.
And
Look at it.
yeah, dude. And the state of California just like leaves them alone because they like don't have any power.
Oh my God.
But they're like pretty adamant that like they're their own thing. It's pretty funny.
How many people were there?
Not that many, dude.
You're selling me on it. Does it have? It has counties with declarations. This is
Yeah. They're like pretty huge on it. The state of California has like enough problems where they're like, dude, you guys can put up your signs and like
that's the
do
damn
whatever.
truth. And I'm not even trying to make like lame
Oh, yeah, that's the
clickbait.
tip of Northern California.
Yeah,
The
dude.
best part, like literally so first off, I wasn't West Coast, I was the East Coast. But every time I go to like San Diego, I get it. I'm not like, this is dumb.
Yeah, it's perfect weather.
I
dude.
get it. The weather's perfect.
Yeah.
It's, everyone's outside doing fitness or being active, all sorts of crazy stuff. That being said, I've heard that San Diego is the most expensive city to live
It's
in the country.
super expensive.
Again, I also get it. It was fucking gorgeous there, dude.
It's nice.
I think San Francisco's got it beat. But,
San Francisco's probably
but San Diego's right next to it. For
yeah.
sure.
I mean, that's wild. I wouldn't go to San Francisco. I wouldn't even come close. I've never been there, but I wouldn't even go close after seeing San Diego. I just loved it. The vibe
San
was
Diego's
good.
awesome.
Burritos were insane. I mean,
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
that's hung out with my friend. You might have heard of him, Jocko.
Boy.
Yeah, good friend of mine. And if you're looking for anything for supplement your fitness needs, go to jockofuel.com. Check them out. That's how you do an ad.
Yeah.
No, they're not paying me, but I do really like them. But No, it's so. I'm gonna have to check out Jefferson now. The state of Jefferson.
Yeah, the state, self-declared state of
Dude, I'm
Jefferson.
sold on that.
Yeah.
I might self-declare something
Hilarious.
myself. Have you been there? Have you been to the state of Jefferson?
We like drove through, like just.
How was it?
I mean, it's a bunch of like rural, like houses and stuff like that, and they just have signs that just say "State of Jefferson."
I'm in.
What's their electoral vote number?
Dude, I'm in on this because I've always heard NorCal's the best, right? And it's just like what? It's like a normal place growing up, like.
Yeah, it's like I wouldn't say it's like small town in like the way Tennessee small towns are, but it was like a college town. It had like a definite border around the town. So if you took like your bicycle, so Davis, by the way, bicycle capital of the United States. It's like the most nerdy
You're selling
claim
me.
to fame.
You're selling me on
So
this.
if you took like your bike, everyone had a bike in Davis. It was crazy. Like every house had like 2 to 3 bicycles.
Yeah.
It sounds so lame.
You're describing a great place.
I think our biggest like theft growing up, and this is like just the place I grew up, was like bicycle, like literally like bike theft. But you take your bike and go to like the creeks nearby, and like you could just be like in farmland with nobody. It was pretty nice.
You're describing like how I like to spend my weekends.
Yeah.
I mean,
so,
just recently I just jumped into Percy Priest off the side of a cliff, and I was like,
is that safe?
yeah, dude.
I mean,
yeah.
Percy Priest. I mean,
Yeah, it's all right. There's people there. It's fine.
it's just filled with like Bud Light and like
Yeah.
Coors Light.
Whoa, hey, Butts for America, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Is that your sponsor?
No, not yet.
Is Bud back?
I think they are back. I think they are
Shane
back.
brought it back, dude.
Dude, Shane brought it back big time. Shane brought it back. Bud looked at their marketing and they go,
Yeah.
stop.
Yeah.
Get me Shane Gillis. Get me the UFC.
Yeah.
Let's get back America. And they also do, I will say this is something I'm very adamant about. They're a big supporter of Folds of Honor, which gives scholarships to military family members and children in particular,
dope.
and also first responders and other cops, firefighters, people who do that. And so it's a scholarship you can apply for. And I'm a big advocate for that.
Fine American institution.
Dude, I mean, they're supporting people. I mean, my kids will get it, hopefully.
Nice.
They qualify for it. So, and you know, they don't have to do that, but they do. And like, I think all July, maybe, I don't know when exactly it is, but they do like a big campaign, and X amount of dollars goes directly back into funding Folds of Honor.
That's cool.
Yeah. And like, you know this now in corporate world, companies don't have to do that stuff. And there are times where companies do things like that to like jazz up their marketing or whatever, but like they've always done it.
Yeah.
And so it's like refreshing to see someone like, yeah, this is what we do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm nothing against them.
Are you saying you do? Sorry. So you grew up in the perfect place. That's all I've heard from you.
Yeah,
so
not
far.
the hood.
No, well, that's fine. It's okay to have parents that love you. What do your parents do?
So both of them are professors. My dad's a scientist.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, pretty big influence in my life, honestly, because my dad like loves science.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of rare, like to find someone who loves their job. Like
For sure.
He since he was like 8, 9 years old, like in India, was like building radios. You know, the classic like immigrant story.
Really?
Yeah,
That's fucking cool as shit.
He knew he wanted to do science from like, super early age. So like I did like experiments in his lab. I was like, I'm going to be a scientist too.
Did you get bit by a spider?
No, unfortunately, dude.
Missed opportunity there.
Should just like put one of those bacteria like from his lab.
Yeah. You just like pick up a spider and be like, Dad, don't look.
Yeah. I want to be special.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He grew up in India.
Both my parents grew up in India. They met here in the United States, New York.
That's sick.
Yeah, my dad proposed to my mom in the Empire State. It's like the most immigrant, like American classic.
That's the fucking American
It's
dream.
one of those things that would be corny if you did it, if you like grew up here, but like.
I don't know. It sounds like the perfect, that's what I love about this country, dude. Is stuff like that. People come here and he's doing it. He's proposing to your mom on the
Empire State.
Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Now it's got a dragon on it for House of Dragons, which is pretty cool. But that's incredible.
Yeah.
How old was he when he came over?
He came over like in the height of the Vietnam War, actually. So he came over pretty young. He was like 20, early 20s. Came over height of the Vietnam War, which like I haven't talked to him too much about it, but I'm sure that was super confusing. He just comes over and like, people are like burning colleges down. He's like, what's going on?
Yeah. I thought this place was going to be cool.
Yeah. And then my mom came like a few years later, and then they met like way later in New York.
Nice.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. then they're like, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah. And
Let's
then
go.
both these smart people created this idiot who had
They did
no.
whatever, dude. They did something right. So they moved out to California. Does he like work at a college or something? Or where
Yeah.
does he?
So actually, I was born in New York, Long Island. Shout out Mineola.
Shout out Mineola. No free shout outs.
Yeah. Moved to Singapore actually for 5 years. Yeah, my dad got a job out in Singapore. Singapore is a pretty unique country. It's like run by a benevolent dictator, as they call it.
Yes.
So like if they want something done, it just gets done.
Yeah.
It's like one of the most powerful countries in Asia.
One of the most wealthiest countries.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
Yeah.
It's like the whole premise of what is it called? Crazy Rich Asians, isn't it? Like that they're from Singapore, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. We lived there for 5 years. I don't remember too much. And then we moved to Davis when I was like 6, right before 9/11, actually.
Yeah. So how long was your dad with the CIA? Right? Is that what we're getting at? I feel like we're getting at
developing bioweapons.
Yeah, you're saying it.
Yeah.
So let's just recap the story. 2 immigrants come to America, get married.
Yep.
And then just happen to wind up in Singapore.
Yeah,
just happen to go over there.
Yeah, working for
for who?
You know, for a research institute.
What were they? What were they researching? I'm sure they were volunteering for Doctors Without Borders too. You know what I'm saying? Like they were out there doing it. Well, so you came in right for 9/11. What was it? Do you have any memories of being in Singapore at all?
Not a whole lot.
Yeah.
I just remember the skyscrapers. Which is a weird, like, I guess because I moved to this small town after. So I always have memories of like just huge skyscrapers, and that's about it.
Would you like come home, like when you were at California, be like, y'all have any skyscrapers here?
Yeah, what's going on, dude?
What's going on, dude? Back
We
in
need some development.
Yeah, hey, in Singapore, that's the way it's done. You guys don't know.
Yeah. No, I don't remember too much though.
That's awesome. Not awesome. You don't remember. It's just like awesome.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
No,
Yeah,
it's like if I could do anything. There was this football player once I saw. I can't remember where he's from, but like he's a doctor. He's also a football player, but like his parents during high school like took him and his kids, like his siblings, like out of high school, and they like literally traveled around on boats, like yachts or not yachts,
Damn.
like sailboats. Homeschooled them, and they just went to multiple different countries.
That's sick. We didn't have that type of money, but
No, I don't think they did either. I think they just they sold everything, and they're like, maybe our kids will be successful. They're all wildly successful,
Right.
so it worked out. But like I'm like, if I could do anything, I just want to expose my kids to different culture, like so desperately, like outside of America.
yeah, it's good. You know, you just get appreciation for like,
Running water,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like electricity, like
exactly.
little things like that. Or like that you can, you know, live in relative safety no matter where you are. I mean, America is not perfect by any means, but it's definitely
yeah, I know what you mean.
it's definitely the best.
Yeah, I'd agree.
USA,
Yeah.
USA.
Yeah.
It's almost July. No, so you grew up in this town, and you have your good friend, famous comedian Hassan,
I don't
right?
know him personally, but yeah,
Is
he's
that how I
also
say
from
it?
Davis. Yeah, Hassan. Yeah.
Hassan?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I say it right.
Yeah, don't know him, but
You don't know him
no.
at all? No.
Nope.
Hmm.
Yeah, most, I think probably one of the most famous guys out of, I mean, there's not that many people out of Davis, California, but
Well, I think it's you.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is he doing these days?
I'm putting Davis on the map, dude.
You are. I mean, all he did was steal jokes. But you, on the other hand, started creating jokes yourself. And did you start doing that when you were like a younger guy in like middle
No,
school?
dude,
elementary-
I don't
high
think-
school. Any of that stuff come around there?
No, so I think it's funny, like, people say I'm funny. I'd like to think I am.
Yeah.
But I was never like a class clown, like, you know, like teacher would say something and I would say something and everyone's like,
Doing it,
yeah, like, yeah. Yeah,
Hey, yeah.
homework is stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know how to read, teacher.
yeah. No, I was never like a funny guy that way. My dad, because he grew up in India, which is a British colony, so he like grew up on like British comedy, which is like very dry, sarcastic,
Yeah.
like
Allegedly, it's comedy.
yeah. But it's like what I like that dry, sarcastic, like Monty
Yeah,
Python kind of humor. So I didn't like create jokes growing up, but I think I had that like subconsciously, like watching stuff like that, or like my dad's also a pretty sarcastic guy, so I think like probably had some influence like later on when I started creating videos.
Yeah. I think the only British comedy that I know of that I like, I'm sure there's others, is like old school Monty Python stuff.
Yeah,
It
it's
is.
always great.
It is like absurdity at its best.
Yeah.
Well, and The Office, but which is
the
legit.
British Office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that one, it's It's so funny. Like you can tell the differences between America is if you watch the British Office to the American Office. Like when I rewatch the British one, I'm so visibly uncomfortable.
Right.
And that's all part of it. Like they hold longer on every awkward scene. Michael's not even really likable in that one.
Right.
You know, like in the American one, they're like, we have to soften it up a little bit, make it like more like affable, whatever it is. I don't know what the right word is. But like first one, he's just like,
Yeah.
But it's incredible. It's incredible. But what did you do as a younger man? Sports?
So yeah, I played soccer, you know?
Nice.
Yeah. Which
What position?
defender actually, which
Nice.
is like hilarious because I was a really short kid growing up. Like I didn't hit my growth spurt till I was like 17. So I was in college basically.
Yeah.
And defenders are supposed to be like pretty tall, you know?
Oh, really? I don't know anything about soccer.
But I figured out that because I was shorter, like I could just like slide tackle people.
Nice.
So played soccer, did a lot of like experiments in my dad's lab because I want to be a scientist.
Does he still have a real lab?
Yeah.
Like,
He's gonna die in that lab. Like that's all he loves to do.
okay.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he's working on stuff for good.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, I think so.
Does he specialize in anything?
Yeah, he specializes in like plants, like how plants reproduce. So that like
What type of plants? You know what I'm saying? Just be Blas right now. Don't be anybody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
wear your other hats.
Yeah. No, I had a pretty like normal, I think like all accounts, like normal childhood, you know?
Except for the lab.
Yeah. except
Your
for,
dad's like literally growing stuff for good, hopefully.
Yeah, he's growing like bioweapons, smallpox 2.0.
Hey, we're going to get canceled. You keep talking about science. I feel like you're going to say trust the science any second here. And then
No. Yeah, pretty like normal, nothing crazy. And then just
siblings.
younger brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, super smart. My younger brother's a genius.
So you're the eldest.
Yeah, I'm the eldest, just me and my brother.
Your dad's just pouring into you. He's like, Sonny's gonna be the one, dude. He's gonna take on.
Yeah. And then my brother was just the math guy.
Yeah.
I tried, dude. I tried to like, you know, it's like a stereotype, I think, like Indian Americans to be good at math. I wasn't like bad at it, you know, but it didn't like, I didn't, you know what I mean?
Just
Like,
didn't stick.
no, dude.
Nah. What are some Indian stereotypes? I don't know.
Yeah, it's actually kind of cool because in the army, like no one knew what Indian stereotypes was. So it was like
Yeah.
weirdly like less racist than like being on the outside. You know what I mean? Because like no one knew what to like make of me. They were just like, okay, you can carry weight. That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess that we go into tech. That's like the big, yeah. I don't think there's too many crazy like.
I don't think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I do think one of my favorite things about the military that you're touched on before we get into it is that like, the only thing that matters realistically is what you can do and if you can do your
Yeah, I
job.
love that, dude.
Like it's the best.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
honestly the best. Like it's not like doesn't matter what race, color you are, any of it. It's just like, can you carry this
Yeah,
weight?
like a spine breaking amount of weight.
Yeah, can you
Up a
carry this
mountain.
weight? And then can you hold some fucking security?
Yeah, that's
like,
pretty much it.
Get your weapon up right now.
Yeah.
That's it. It's not like, oh, well, shut up, nerd. Pick up your weapon.
Yeah, start moving, dude.
Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? I'm up. They see me. I'm down. Get it done.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Well, when so you're doing experiments in the lab, creating Lord only knows.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm really down a lot of rabbit holes lately. I just watched all the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, dude.
They're great. They're actually great. They're great. We messed it up, but I haven't seen the new one. But
Okay.
I watched like the 3 other ones.
Yeah.
But like you're doing all this stuff. When did you start getting that bug for service? When did that come
That
to
didn't
you?
happen till college. So I went to college, my undergraduate in Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara.
Okay.
You know,
Dude,
shout
you're
out.
so California.
Yeah, so California.
Yeah, you're so California, dude. Such a babe.
Yeah. And I was studying physics.
Okay, I don't want to hear that you're not good at math when you say you're studying physics. Like,
Dude, the comparison I had was my dad winning like math competitions when he was like 13. And
shut
like,
the fuck up.
and in India too, where like everyone's good at math. So,
Whoa. What does a math competition even look like?
I don't know. I was not good
He's
enough
like,
to
he's like doing
be in
pull-ups and
them.
equations at the same time.
Yeah. So I did physics. My dad did physics before he switched over to biology. So like, and then my grandfather did physics as well. So it was like, I guess it runs in the family, like do physics.
Yeah.
And then
all that runs in my family is crippling addiction.
hell yeah,
So good
dude.
for you.
And alcohol.
That river runs deep.
It's good for creative, produces creative people.
Yeah, it does.
So I was doing physics. I was like 19, 20, like my junior year or so, when I just had this realization, like, dude, my classmates were like reading physics textbooks to go to sleep. Like,
what?
Dude, I was around some like genius types. Because physics is one of those things, like, it doesn't make you a lot of money. So the only people in physics were like hardcore, like, people about physics.
It's occurring to me. I'm not really sure what physics is. But
yeah. So I was like 19, 20, and I was like, dude, I'm like, this is an effort for me to like study for these classes. Like, dude, and like my whole goal was to like do a PhD, like be a scientist like my dad. And like, I had this like existential crisis, I guess, at like 20, where I was like, dude, I don't think this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I was about a year from graduating, and I was like, oh shoot, like, I don't know if I want to do this. Like,
for real.
Yeah, I don't know what I want to do. I didn't really want to do some random like tech job. I will say that's what my dad, like, even though I didn't end up doing what he's doing, the idea of like doing a job or doing something because you love it.
Yeah.
That always, like, I've always tried to keep that.
That's what we should do.
Yeah.
But we don't.
I mean, I get it. Like, not everyone can get a job that you love, but from an early age, seeing my dad, like, he didn't treat science like something he's got to clock into. You know what I mean?
So
like,
incredibly rare.
So that always rubbed off on me. So I was like, what am I going to do that I also love? And it's crazy. I read this, I told the story before. It sounds so random. I was on a Barnes and Noble, or maybe Borders, before Amazon took it out.
Yeah.
Shout out Borders.
Yeah, shout out Borders.
R.I.P., dude.
Yeah.
And I came across this book called The Art of Intelligence, which is written by the CIA guy. And it was just his, like, basically autobiography of like his life in the Cold War and the CIA. And like, it blew my mind because I was just like, he described his life like being kind of a lost college kid and then applying to the CIA.
Lessons from a life in clandestine services.
Yeah, it's such a strange book that would inspire me, but it just opened my eyes to like a different world out there. And I was like, you see movies about spies and like government jobs. If you grew up
in Singapore with your dad.
You grew up in,
and you're like, I kind of miss it.
No, but you grow up in like with this science world, and like no one in Davis like joined the Army really.
Yeah.
Like there was one guy from our high school that went to West Point, and we were just reminded that West Point exists. We're like, what is that weird academy where,
where Edgar Allan Poe went. Yeah. Kind of a weird place.
So I read this book. It just blew my mind because I was like, this is like a real job. You know what I mean? It sounds like dumb to say, like, of course the CIA is a real job, but it's like reading someone's like personal like take on it. And he was just doing cool stuff in the Cold War, toppling governments maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
What the CIA does. It blew my mind, and I was like, maybe I should like apply to the CIA because like being a spy sounds so cool. And I was looking at the jobs, and I was like, dude, I don't want to do a desk job in the CIA. I want to like be a spy, and I wasn't like qualified.
Jack Ryan,
yeah, it didn't seem like I was qualified to do any of that. And in the book, he had mentioned, this is like such a weird like rabbit hole to lead me to the military, but he had mentioned another guy he worked with who was a former Marine, or always a Marine. Yeah. Yeah. And that led me down like maybe the military. And I started looking at like military stuff, and like I had a roommate that was in ROTC at the time.
Yeah.
Army guy. And somehow I just looked into the Army Officer program. I didn't really know what I wanted to do in the military, but I was like, I want to do something cool. And I just started looking at the Army Officer program, started applying for it. And then it just ended up working out. As soon as I graduated, I like got in the Army Officer program.
So you did get your bachelor's?
Yep. In physics.
Sick.
Yeah. And then never used it again.
Well, there's still time.
You said you grew up in Santa Barbara, or you went to school in Santa Barbara, right?
Went to school in Santa Barbara. One of the most gorgeous.
I know.
People are gorgeous.
I know you got some party stories.
Dude,
Tell me,
I was...
how much time did you spend at Isla Vista?
Oh, geez, so you're tracking...
Oh,
you're aware of Isla Vista, dude.
Halloween Isla Vista, insane.
Dude, Isla Vista... So there's like Santa Barbara is a beautiful like city, but like the actual college is not in Santa Barbara. It's in like this like third world country called Isla Vista. It's literally a third world country, dude. Like it's just like trash on the streets because it's just a pure college town.
Kind of sounds great.
Yeah. And like there'd be these huge spring break parties. Like people in Southern California, like all over California, would like come to our school to party.
For real?
Yeah, dude.
In high school.
Yeah.
Damn.
And like there were these houses.
Did you go in high school?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Halloween is where I spent my
Yeah,
time.
dude, Halloween.
You know?
I don't know. Yeah, there'd be riots, dude. Sometimes, like
Really?
people would go so
Bro,
insane. I remember,
You'll
like,
see some of the most unique costumes too. Like people take it serious, like get creative. Like this one year I went, like Super Mario Brothers was a really big theme that year. And this dude was walking around as Mario, and he had like a question mark above his head, like PVC, like plastic PVC pipes, see through, and it just looked like a question mark was floating above his head. But not only that, dude, people are just getting trashed. Like you could walk into these like fraternity houses, like take a beer bong from like a 2-story, 3-story building, like game on, bro.
Really? And you were doing that and doing physics?
I mean, it wasn't always like at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like look at these.
I mean, there'd be houses like on the beach, and what was kind of cool about Santa Barbara is there wasn't a huge like fraternity culture. Like there was fraternities, but it didn't like dominate the school.
Right.
Damn.
It was like the houses on the beach that like opened up onto the sea, literally, that just like ran the school. Like you wanted to go. It's called Del Playa.
Okay.
Which like anyone from California that was like in college would know about Del Playa, and it's like parties on there would be insane.
God. It looks like, what's that movie?
Project X.
Yep,
Yeah, Project
That's
X.
what it looks
Yeah.
like. It looks like real life Project X. That's awesome. I don't know why that didn't make you want to join the military. You're like, I want to do this, but only with dudes.
Yeah.
Like, I want to black out just with bros.
Just with dudes where there's no women.
Yeah.
That's so
Not
much
a
cooler.
woman for miles.
Yeah, hell yes. Dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, man, I don't know. I want to read that book too, the CIA book.
Yeah, it's weird because there's nothing. It's not like a.
It's not like an op wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's not like an inspirational like join the sea. It's just it just opened my eyes to like a
How we're controlling the world.
yeah.
Are we?
Yeah, but it was just a cool story. Like he's doing like
I mean, honestly, that's probably the peak of clandestine services.
Yeah.
Where you're just like moving around during the Cold War. Doing
and he
whatever
was
you
in
want.
he was in Africa and like
Oh.
yeah, we're always doing stuff in Africa, dude. Nobody
Hey,
knows about it.
No one. Well, there's a lot of land being bought there by
Yeah,
one country in particular.
Yeah.
I'll let you guess. It's
Our-
not us.
Yeah, our friends.
Not our friends. Not our friends. Africa's one of the things that every empire, or I don't think America's really an empire, but every empire has tried to control because it's so rich in land and minerals and stuff, but no one can tame it at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I think there's still parts of it that are like completely like unmapped
I believe it.
and uncharted. That's what is
Yeah.
that the right word?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
Probably.
Is it uncharted?
Yeah.
Like they're like, we think that's over there. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy that there's parts of the world we're still like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think Amazon's like that.
Yeah, for sure, but not like as vast as it is in Africa.
Yeah, Africa's friggin' it's a unique place. No.
Doggone, one of my favorite people is Anthony Bourdain. And
R.I.P. dude.
R.I.P. dude. Kitchen Confidential is one of the best books. I have it saved. The way he tells stories is the best, and I want to write like that.
Yeah.
It's so good. And with the audiobook's so good, the way he like is expressive and the way he communicates, it just really paints a picture. But he always wanted to go to Africa. And this is in like 2007, 2008, whenever his show was on Parts Unknown.
Uh-huh.
And he gets on a boat, his production team gets on the other boat. They go down the river and they're like still doing it. And for days, they don't know where the other production team is.
That's cool.
They just can't find them. And it's like their boat got broke or something and they were like stranded in the middle of somewhere. But like the guides they're with, they're like, this is fine. This is Africa. TIA. This is Africa. That's from Blood Diamond. Yeah. But like even then, very big production, CNN, they got cash for days. They're still just like, oh, we don't know where they are. There's like 12 dudes we can't find. Like, that's crazy.
MIA, dude.
Yeah, MIA. But I maybe think of that song, Paper Planes. Actually, the girl who sang the song, I Fly Like...
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It's one of the best. Well, so you're doing all this stuff now to where you're in the military, right? You're in the Army. Thankfully, you went officer.
Yeah. So
bet-
I was like, I wanted to be in the Army no matter what. Because I had the degree, I was like, sure, I'll do the officer program. I didn't know I'm kind of glad I did it this way. I almost knew nothing about the military.
Same.
I did like minimal research.
I didn't know how that part worked is what I'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually got rejected from officer candidate school my first time. They told me like, I remember the guy told me, he's like, I don't think you'd be able to like hang with the other officers. And then about a month later,
He got fired. Yeah.
A month later, I think they had a different board or whatever. You go in front of a board and they.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, you go in front of a bunch of like majors or something, and you just say why you think you would be a good fit for the, I guess, military officer service.
Walk me through it. You go through college, you get your degree,
Yep.
and then you go to like what, a local,
Literally a recruiter's office.
you go to a normal recruiter's
Yep.
office and you're like, hey, my name's Sonny, I want to be an officer.
Basically.
Okay, and they're like, you got to talk to the OSO, right? The officer selection officer.
Yeah, I can't
That's what
remember.
they
if
call him
had-
in the
okay,
Marine
sure.
Corps. But yeah, I know
Yeah.
because my old lieutenant was one.
Okay.
And then they're like, go here on this date for like a panel.
Yeah, you fill a bunch of paperwork. You get interviewed, and then
Do you take the ASVAB?
I think after you get selected. Maybe I took it before.
I bet you beat that thing up from one side to the other.
Yeah, dude, 99, dude.
You're like, they're like, I bet the questions are like, pick a color, and you're like, God, dude, people
Yeah,
fail
I mean,
this.
after like, I'll give myself some credit here. After like, doing quantum mechanics, like the ASVAB. I mean, I did like a little bit of studying, but like, I won't lie.
You
I
didn't study.
Dude,
Don't
yeah.
no.
Yeah.
You didn't study.
Yeah.
Don't even try. People fail it. People fail it, and they also get to vote. That's all I think
Yeah.
about. People like literally fill that test. They're like, which one's a shape? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna write in an answer.
Yeah. I did have a lot of privilege. I will say I had a lot of privilege growing up. Like my dad like invested a lot in my education. So, I mean,
That's good. He did everything
yeah.
to prepare you to be
Yeah.
successful in life.
So-
That's what a parent's supposed to do.
Yeah.
That's what sucks. I'm in this stage now where like I'm investing everything I can to make my children independent.
Yeah.
But it means they're going to leave, and I kind of hate it. Like I just love them too much. I just
Yeah.
want them to always be around. So I have a plan to bring them back, which is I just eventually like have enough land and I offer them a home each. Like
There you
that's
go.
that's literally what I want to
Yeah.
do.
Throw one in for Sonny too while you're at it.
All right,
dude.
cool.
Yeah.
Like I literally like buy property and be like, you can put a house here.
Yeah.
It's yours.
And then Eric can live in the shed.
Eric's fine.
Yeah.
Eric's fine. He'll be all right. Like, yeah, there's Uncle Eric out
Yeah,
there
yeah.
shirtless again.
Eric Bartell, I guess for those guys that don't know, he's
Everyone knows.
Yeah,
He's
okay,
been on here.
Okay, yeah,
been on
he's
here.
always shirtless.
He's always shirtless for like weirdest things.
He looks good, so I can't
He's
fault
good.
him.
Mr. Muscle and Fitness.
Yeah. Oh, I lift weights.
Yeah. See, he's what I think about when I
I
think
lift weights and I'm fit and I look good.
Yeah.
Ooh.
You ever heard of America? It's me.
Yeah.
Hey, look at my chest tattoo. He's literally what you think about when you think about like bro officer. You don't
Yeah.
think of Sonny. I don't mean that negatively,
No,
but
no,
like
yeah.
he's like, and he's so smart too, and he's like overcome so much, and it's just like, oh man, why can't I just hate you? Like,
Yeah, he's a nice dude.
You're a great guy. You used to live in homeless shelters. God, I want to hate you so bad.
Yeah, you got a sob story too.
Yeah, like we get it, dude. Yeah, no, he's incredible. But so you bodied the ASVAB.
Yeah.
Probably your heart probably broke a little bit when you saw some of the questions and realized people fail it. But you got over that. You're like, I'll be in charge of people who can't answer these questions. What did they say when you came back with a 99?
I don't think they were too concerned. I think it was I think the like recruiter was impressed, because he's like used to just people like probably failing.
They're
at-
dropping it. They're dropping the score now to like 30.
Yeah.
Just
you
to let
need
people in.
some of those ASVAB waivers though, in the military. Like
I mean, in my time, they were prison waivers, but yeah, I knew some of the best people in the world.
yeah, you only killed 2 people. It's the surge.
Yeah.
Like, just put them out there.
Yeah, a good buddy of mine, he I don't want to reveal too much, but he came home and his old lady was cheating on him. He took an axe handle to the guy.
Classic, dude.
To the guy. No, not an axe. He just like used it like a bat and like.
Yeah, it's always like some like machete or like it's never like a clean weapon, dude.
No,
like,
no,
those
it's
stories
just
are
a
like,
blunt
guys,
weapon.
Yeah.
And the judge was like, well, son, you can either go to jail or join the Marines. Jump cut. We're in Marja and we're smoking a cigarette, just like covered in dirt and sweat and everything. And he looks at me and he goes, well, hell, Bill, I wish I was in prison right now. like he was just like, but I'm here with you. All right.
Yeah.
I'll make the best of it.
Yeah.
But great Marine,
Yeah.
incredible leader. It's just funny. He's like, prison might have been easier. Like,
Damn. You need some
yeah.
of those guys though.
You need him. You need him. But you're doing all this stuff and then you go off to, I mean, I've never heard of it being done this way. So this is very interesting to me.
Yeah, Marine.
Because usually they're tacked on to like,
Marine officer selection, I know from the little I know, is like a lot different than the Army officer like selection.
I've heard people doing
Or
it
process.
doing it straight through with college, like in the ROTC program and stuff. I've never heard people doing it like you.
Yeah,
like,
so OCS or officer candidate school is like the last like way to be in the military as an officer. So they have like their whatever numbers they need, like West Point, the academies, and then they got ROTC, and
Yeah.
then they have like
you're like a walk-on.
yeah, kind of
Walk-on.
yeah.
Hell yeah.
Second time walk on because I got rejected that first time.
Ah, whatever. They were dumb. Obviously, they're not successful. But so you walk on. Do they give you any prep courses or anything about like military culture, or you just got to learn it all? at
I had to
OCS?
go through basic, which I thought was really
like
good for me.
enlisted basic.
Yeah. You go through with like, now it's like the basic where like, it's not infantry basic because you don't know what you're going to be yet.
Yeah.
So you go through with like people that are mechanics, like just everybody when at Fort Jackson.
Did they know that you were going to be an officer?
Yeah. So this is funny. It's kind of dumb to think about it, but if you're an officer, you automatically come in, or you have a degree, you can automatically come in as like a E4 specialist.
Shut the fuck up. You come in as an E4?
Yeah.
you
It
didn't know that?
doesn't make much sense, but
No, I would have.
because like the degree doesn't
Wait,
like,
you're pushing against that? You don't think that's? You don't
No,
think that's,
I'm fine. I didn't know that they offer
yeah.
that.
So you have to like wear
In the Marine Corps, they make it E2.
Yeah, so
like,
you have to like wear your rank at basic, and the thing was, everyone that had like a specialist rank, it was pretty obvious you were going to be like an officer.
Yeah.
You know, go to the officer school after. And I had this in like regular basic. There's one infantry drill sergeant with like every platoon.
Yeah.
And our guy was like this total hard ass. I mean, your classic like poster boy drill
Yeah.
sergeant, which was good. But like I like took off my rank because I was like, I don't want to know that like
Really?
Yeah, because he was like yelling at some guy like, you know, you think you're gonna be an officer, blah blah blah. So I was like,
yeah.
and then I think I answered a bunch of questions about rank like too well, and he like looked at me. He had this like squint, and he like looked at my like fuzzy patch, and it was
Yeah.
like. It like threw him off enough where he like ended up looking at me. He's like, he's like, throw that rank back on.
Yeah.
And then after that, dude, he would call me future sir.
That's
like,
good.
Yeah.
He's like, that one knows how to read.
What's a cool story about this guy, Drill Sergeant Fisher, dude.
Shout out Joe Sergeant Fisher.
Yeah, Randy Fisher from Kentucky. Good
Oh,
old boy.
Yeah.
He ended up pinning my expert infantryman badge in Alaska.
That's what's
I ended up running into him, and like, I thought this guy like hated, it's like,
Yeah.
you don't realize they're playing the game, but
You
like,
don't realize it's very theatrical. Yeah.
yeah, but he's like, say, you're a future officer. Like, why don't you do this, that? And he ended up like running into an Alaska, and he pinned my like EIB. That was like,
Hell
like, you
yeah.
couldn't script that, dude.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So I go through basic. He actually was like my inspiration for like being infantry a little bit because I knew I wanted to do like combat arms. I thought I was going to do artillery because I had this physics degree. In my head, I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense. Trajectories, whatever. I didn't want to get
They
like,
just type in stuff to a calculator.
yeah.
Meanwhile, you could have been the calculator. Like, you could have. They should have put you at the fire command, dude. You've been like, dude, no, it
I
just
ended up
left.
being a mortar PL, so kind of,
You literally, I bet you can do all that math in your head.
I'm not good at like fast math. Funny
So
enough, but,
you're trying to downplay it.
Yeah,
Mr.
but-
Physics. Yeah.
he like, I just saw him and I saw the other drill sergeants, and like, it's kind of a corny story to talk about like, oh, your drill sergeants, inspiring you. But
No, it's not. That's what
he,
they're supposed to do.
I was 20, 21, whatever. And I was like, this guy is like a man.
Yeah.
The way he would just like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
and like,
I know.
you hear these stories. He's like, the way he was like talking about like making too much noise. And he's like, when I was going on patrols in Afghanistan, and you just get hyped up. You know what I mean? Like,
Back in my day.
yeah, basically. And, so he like pulled me in one time because like he heard I wanted to be like infantry, potentially an infantry officer, and he was like, infantry officers are the best, right? Like you got to be the
Supposed
best
to
of the
be.
best, blah blah blah, and like that hyped me up. So when I showed up to officer candidate school, which is now just only other officer candidates, I was like, I think I want to be infantry, and then.
Pushed him out of the way.
Yeah, basically all the like bros, if you want to call it that, like at officer candidate school, also wanted to go infantry, and then that just kind of sold it. I was like, okay, everyone that's fit and like
Yeah.
I'm like think is cool is going infantry. And then you have this like mindset at the time, which I wouldn't think like this now, but it's just like, if you don't go infantry, dude, you're not a man, Were you infantry?
yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
See, you're fine.
Yeah,
You're playing
same.
with house money.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
wouldn't really think like that now because I'm like,
I mean, a lot of it's dictated by the era you're in, right?
Right.
In this era with not an active war yet.
yeah. I mean, because there's definitely like guys that aren't like infantry MOS that did like, hardcore, like way
For
more
sure.
badass stuff than I did. But
I would probably choose something else now.
yeah, it was a mindset like at the time that was like,
You too?
Yeah, I would choose something else.
I think I would try to get like in drones or something weird
But
like that.
You also already like you're going. If you did it again, you would already have the infantry experience, which I think is pretty unique. You know,
Very true.
So I was like, I gotta go infantry officer candidate school. I grind it out. It's like 3-month course where they try to like catch you up, I guess, with all the other like ROTC, like West Point guys. You have a crash course in like military history, which I thought was the coolest thing. Like, I'd like, I mean, you go from like, I went from like learning physics stuff to like how like people set up battles.
This is how we do an L-shaped ambush. Yeah.
It was like, you know, Grant, like how he like, you know,
Grant, who famously failed at everything until he became an officer.
Dude, inspiration.
I mean, honestly,
he was an alcoholic.
He was an alcoholic. Yeah, he was. He still did that, but he's an alcoholic. He had businesses fail and all this stuff until he, you know, turned it all around in the Army, became the commander of the Union Army, and then went on to become president. Like,
but I thought it was fascinating because I never like. It was this like old like guy, this awesome like old like who you imagine teaching military history. This like wizened like Southern like guy, like just you know.
Well, boys, today we're going to talk about Custer's last stand.
Yeah, dude,
that's awesome.
And then you do some tactics and stuff. And it's funny, at the time I thought I was going to be behind when I showed up to like be with all the other like West Point like ROTC guys. And it's funny because like guys that go through OCS are like no farther behind or
They
ahead
should have
than
been ahead
like
of you.
Yeah, they should, right? They had 4 years to like
4 years of like legit military history training.
Yeah, but then you show up to infantry. Once I branched infantry officer school is like the next step before you show up to your unit. And like I was with all the ROTC guys, and they were like no worse or better tactically than like you know.
You heard it here first. West Point, not that great.
I think it like doesn't like, I think people try to stereotype like, oh, officers that come from here. And there's like some stereotypes. In the end, I was just like, the guy's either a good dude or a bad, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, obviously West Point's good. All the academy's good, but it's really dependent on the person.
Yeah, I think so.
It's great for networking. Like the few officers that I know who went to West Point, like
the networking
you pretty much
is
go
huge.
there for
Dude,
the whole grad network, dude.
They're like, we control Raytheon. You know, like, dude, for real though.
Yeah.
For real though.
Do you want to see that Lockheed Martin?
Hey,
like
for real though. Like, yeah. How do you feel about being a board member?
Yeah. How do you feel about selling HESCOs to the Army?
You're saying not that much, bro. I'm telling you, you're gonna make hella cheddar.
Yeah.
Like it's they have, so I know this from a few guys here. They have like West Point clubs or like members, like all they have one here in Nashville, and they're like,
Yeah.
So, anyways, I sold that company to Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're like villains.
The old guy. I mean, it's pretty legit, dude. Like after I got out, we can get this later maybe, but and I did my MBA. Like I was with a lot of West Point guys, and like their network, dude, was
It's gnarly.
It's insane.
It's insanely gnarly. I think I think our congressman's even in it. My current congressman, Mark Green, he was in, I believe so.
Yeah.
I know a few of them.
I can't hate on it. I visited West Point and like, you know, I clowned on it when I was in the Army, of course, because like you go through this prestigious academy and you turn out no better or worse than anybody else. But I went to see it and I was like, all right, if I was 16 or 17, it's like a castle. And I was like,
it looks like Hogwarts.
Yeah, dude. I'd be
it's
like,
Hogwarts for bros.
Yeah, they got like cannons and stuff. And I was like, all right, if I was 16 years old, I would think this is pretty cool.
Do you know who went there? Who lives here actually?
Who?
Preston Stewart, the TikTok.
He lives here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, we're friends online.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you his number. You can be friends in person.
Yeah.
We're doing a lunch next week. I'll let you know.
Tell him what's up.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know him like that, but
I'll take care of it. But he's incredibly humble and
super nice guy.
And honestly, the only person you should be listening to breaking down foreign affairs or conflicts.
Yeah, he does it in a really like unbiased way, which I like.
Yeah, because he's smart and actually has been deployed, unlike some who just steal reels and make them up. I'm not going to name them, but like he literally goes out of his way to make sure he's talking about the truth, the end. Like he hires kids and stuff from like all over, just translates.
Ukrainian children.
Boots
on ground.
Yeah, just to translate like telegram messages and stuff, and then he'll put it above his head as he's talking about.
That's cool.
Other people are like, "So this is happening," you know, and like he's like, it's just cool that to see him do so well too, because he's like crushing at it. But it's also weird to see how some places suppress him and some don't. It's a whole thing. When all he's being is like, this is what's happening right now.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah. You like him. You get along well. Yeah. He needs to get a Noble sponsorship. Noble sponsor Preston Stewart. He wears your hat everywhere. It's insane. It's insane. But yeah, he's he talks about going there and how like cool it was and like the ceremony of like sitting down to eat and everything.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I think if you're young, like you have to be like young enough to like
to be molded.
Yeah, to be molded like that. I don't think I would have done well at. I told some of like my West Point friends this. Like, I don't think I would have done well there because I was always bad at like the DNC stuff.
DNC,
like drill and ceremony type stuff,
okay.
which is like all of basically like West Point.
Yeah, with their weird like outfits.
Yeah, like I remember like even trying to fold. Like this just sounds dumb. Like, dude, even trying to fold the hospital corners, whatever, basic like just mechanic. Like my brain like couldn't. You know what I mean? Like
finally something I'm better at than you. Like just chop it like that and fold it over.
It's weird because I always thought I was decent tactically, but like all that stuff, if I went to West Point, I would have probably thought like I'm not going to make it as an officer.
That's not true, dude.
Yeah.
You got the goods.
So
the force is strong with you.
Thankfully, maybe not thankfully, but infantry officer school, I somehow lucked out. I got put in the honor grad like ROTC class. So like it's like for those people familiar, it's like there's a June class, which is like everyone graduates in May for the most part, like colleges. So all the like top ROTC guys go into the June class. That's the class I was in. So there's no West Point guys. And I remember actually thinking like after I branched infantry and showing up and being with these like physical, dude, these guys were like max everyone.
Hot dudes.
Yeah. Hot, like tall.
Boss, insert hot dudes here.
Dude, I remember thinking like, this is like the second time I think, the first time I thought, there was only 2 times in the Army where I ever thought like, dude, what did I sign up to do?
Okay.
The first time was right off the bus at basic.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't from that world. And I was like, what is going on, dude?
I know physics.
Yeah. I'm carrying this duffel bag. I'm dumping it. Like for everyone that's like military watching this, which I'm assuming is like a lot of your audience is like, okay, everyone went through this. But like
a lot of he-hims. Yeah, continue.
Yeah, you come from this like, I came from the world I came from. I was like, dude, what is this? Dude, we're dumping this duffel bag.
Yeah.
Like we're packing it
that
back
shit right now.
Yeah.
It's the shark attack.
Yeah, shark attack.
Yeah, the shark attack.
Angry Cops loves it.
Are you in the position of attention?
Yeah.
You know Angry Cops AC?
I know of him, yeah.
Yeah, he loves doing shark attacks.
I would love to be a fly on the wall watching him conduct the shark attack.
If I could get the Army to let me do anything, it'd be like, can I just follow Rich?
Yeah.
Just give me like a day with Rich when they come around the bus. Hey, you, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's funny what I know knowing now that like a lot of that's just like you said, theatrical. But like in the moment, you're just like,
your brain's overloaded.
Yeah, they don't like me. Like, what did I do wrong? It's like you're gonna do something wrong no matter what. And
back in my day,
back
in my day, they had a real hands-on approach. They don't have anymore.
So infantry officer school was the second time where I was like, dude, I don't know if like I'm cut out for infantry because these dudes were maxing their like the average PT score was 300 when it was still 300 in the Army anyway. And I remember doing this like there was like a ruck march like the first week that was like at some insane pace. And like I was like falling out towards the back and I was like, dude, did I screw up? Like, am I not? And then I ended up like having a good group of friends that like, they're like, dude, you're in your head, like work out with us, like blah, blah, blah. And then infantry officer school was honestly, it's like the only time as an officer you can kind of be like a private.
Yeah.
Because like you're showing up to training after like you get the weekends off and then you're like left alone for the most part. So like we'd go to Atlanta, Buckhead, you know, which every infantry officer guy would know about Buckhead. Buckhead.
Well, yes, ma'am, I am in the military.
Yeah, dude, it's so funny because you go out to Buckhead being like, I'm going to escape from Columbus, where Fort Benning was, where I trained. And you go around Buckhead in Atlanta, you just can see all the other infantry officers, like high fade, like Hawaiian t-shirt, like it's so obvious.
Blending in.
Yeah.
It's like a bunch of feds showing up. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's it's weird. It's like when you see like they'll come here, but all the kids from Fort Campbell, they'll like unload. And I barely identify with it because every Marine Corps base, I mean, there's only like 3 of them really, the 3 areas they are.
Right.
They're not near towns like Atlanta or Columbus. It's Jacksonville and there's Wilmington, which is cool, but like
Jay Vegas, dude.
Yeah. It's something. That's something.
I've been there, dude.
But you know. But I couldn't imagine like being close enough for Libo to a place like Nashville, like Atlanta, or like any of the like really good ones. But Army has pretty good bases near it. They're pretty good towns. Yeah, most of them. Especially when you're like a young guy in training.
Yeah, dude.
Hitting Libo on the weekend with the boys.
I mean, you're like going to the field like 4 or 5 days a week shooting machine guns and then like going out on the weekends. Like you just feel, I was telling
Peak man.
Dude, peak. Yeah.
That's the cure to male loneliness, shooting machine guns with the boys and having
What's
limo.
funny is like, I don't think I'll ever reach that level of like delusional confidence I had when I was like 22, like in like eyeball, like, which I hadn't done anything yet, but you're like, you know, it's the first time like I was actually got the job like I wanted. I thought it was awesome. Like we're getting trained to learn how to kill people. You're just like, haven't done, you know, anything yet, but you go out to like Buckhead and you're just like, I'm a freaking like,
I wish a motherfucker
delusional.
would. Yeah. I wish a motherfucker would.
Dude,
FO, dude.
Yeah. And like just delusional level of confidence.
I know exactly. I remember like it's called SOI. It's School of Infantry.
Not to the point where you got a tattoo, right?
No, dude, no tattoos.
There's still time. There's still time. I remember hitting Libo on the weekends, being like, "This is it. This is peak." Especially when I would see like non-infantry people out in town. Be like,
oh yeah, dude,
out
the ego that you have.
Oh yeah, man. Out of the way, Marines are coming through.
And see what's different about the Army infantry is you know who's infantry and who's not.
Yeah.
Because we wear the blue cord
Yeah.
in our dress uniform.
That's cool as shit.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool
we have
as
the
shit.
blue disc
Yeah, and
behind
there's
like
that like chant which like got you hyped back in the day. It's so corny to say now, but it's
Dude.
like, why is the sky blue? You know, because God loves the infantry. Because
Fuck
you wear
yeah,
the blue
dude.
cord.
Fuck
You know,
yeah,
you're just getting you're just getting the hype, dude. Your brain hasn't developed yet, so you're just like, yes.
That is why God loves us.
Yeah. I remember getting into a fight with these British guys in Atlanta at Buckhead. Big Sky, if everyone is like.
Shout
anyone
out
that-
Big Sky.
Dude, that bar is probably still there. It was the only bar that was open past like 1 a.m.
Okay.
So you could still get like blacked out.
Yeah.
And I got in a fight with some British guys. It wasn't even like, it was like a lame fight. Like no one threw hands.
Yeah.
But like I was talking to some girl, whatever. She like, you know.
She missed out on the opportunity of a lifetime.
Exactly. And then some British guy turns to me and he's like, "Hey, we talking to my girl?" And I was like, "That's not your girl." You know, and just some
First
stupid
off,
like,
you're in America, you fucking piece of shit.
And so like, you know, you have this like dumb level of confidence. Of course they're British. You're like, "Dude, we beat you," you know, like back to back World War champions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
we beat you twice.
You guys used to be in charge of everything. Now
Yeah.
all you have is Canada.
And I just
You
remember
suck.
being like super drunk, like, you know, my buddies were like, you know, trying to hold me back. I wasn't gonna do anything.
Get him,
probably.
Sonny, get him.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, shout out to those boys, dude. Shout out to your boys. Be like, hey, dude, back up.
Yeah.
Back up.
Dude,
You know-
one of my boys had like a knife. He was like, "Dude, I was going to the back entrance making sure." I was like,
Yeah.
none of us are probably gonna do anything.
Yeah.
And I just remember telling my friends, like, "Dude, we're literally trained to like kill people, dude.
Yeah.
What are they gonna do?"
Yeah. What are they gonna do? Give us tea?
I'll
Yeah.
never have that level of confidence again.
I'll show you how.
Beat.
Yeah, dude. There's nothing
Life
like
started hitting me, and then it just goes down.
But it's such a very cool and unique thing too to have to like really do those like growing up like bonding. I don't know what the right. I know
It's like a fraternity, you know?
Yeah, but it's not lame. You don't pay to join it. That's fucking pathetic.
And you actually do something like cool.
Yeah, like paying to have friends is sad.
And it's like, like I wasn't in a fraternity, but I had a few friends that were, and it's like thinking about going through that after the military, where it's like you're just like drinking to like, you know, the point of like some like alcohol poisoning for like no reason. There's no like, if you do this, like you're gonna help your buddy stay alive, and it's just like just take a bunch of vodka and like stand in a circle, you know, and like sing our school, like whatever they do. You know?
No, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
I remember when I was at MTSU for a while, we were like, it was like one of their first, I was there for a year before I graduated and from a different college. Lipscomb, who cares? And
great school.
it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know if they want to be associated with me. Like,
Chris, is that a Catholic Catholic school?
No, it's a Church of Christ
Okay.
school, and they have the Yale Ribbon program. It's incredible. You know, they're very kind to us. The veterans program was off the charts there. It changed my life in a lot of ways. I'm not embarrassed at them. They're probably embarrassed at me.
Right.
So you said right way too quick. Way too quick. But at MTSU, there wasn't like a veteran military thing there. They've got a big center and stuff now, but like some of the guys I knew were like, "Hey, you should join a fraternity," and they told me like what their hazing stuff looked like. First off, not even really hazing, just degrading.
Yeah.
Like real hazing is like having to take everything out of your room piece by piece, clean it outside, then drag it back in. That's like real stuff that like you do in the military, or like picking up cigarette butts, police calling, those things. Like everything was just degrading, and like you're gonna drink till you can't see straight, and then just get naked, and you're like, what? Why am I doing that?
Shout out Eric.
Shout out to the boy.
Yeah. They probably would have thought you were a god though. Like fraternity guys love military.
Yeah, they like really sold me on it, but I was like, I'm not doing that. And they're like, oh, you also got to pay. And I was like, I don't want to. I don't know. It's just.
Lame.
But that being said, though, I did say it's lame to join it. I do understand people wanting that bond now.
Yeah, it's just like you got a group of boys that'll like be there for you. Like I'm still super close with a lot of the infantry officer guys that like we all got stationed in different like places, but like we'll hang out like every once in a while, like little trip or whatever, boys trip, and it's like we still have that bond.
It's there's nothing like it. So I mean, because like now I even understand why people do those little man camps where they pay like 30 grand, whatever it is, to go get hazed.
Yeah, so you just go to Percy Priest, dude, and just to get hazed.
Yeah, to get hazed. Yeah, well, because they're like pretending they get like they like get in the beach and they like I don't know. You've seen them.
Yeah, I think I've seen like parodies of them.
Yeah, it's not my bag, but I do understand it. I'm just really grateful that like I had that kind of. What is it? I don't know, that adventure, that great adventure, a little bit of like bonding.
That's what I wanted. Like,
I think everyone wants it.
Yeah.
And if you don't like find it or seek it or whatever, you're always kind of lacking.
Yeah.
That great experience. What does that say?
Oh, it was just something that I was going to bring up. I know you went the officer route, but did you guys graduate or receive your cross rifles on Honor Hill?
No, we did it outside. I think like the Ranger. Oh man, I'm gonna mess this up. There's like a Ranger tribute in Fort Benning, and like our graduation's like right outside there.
That's sick.
So this gate right here is the gate on Honor Hill, and it says, "From this gate emerge the finest soldiers the world has ever known."
Yeah, that's badass, dude.
So you walk through these gates when you graduate.
You're probably so hyped too.
It's
Dude,
such a great feeling.
I got chill bumps now.
Yeah, dude. It's when you're going through it, like I think like. I'm obviously make fun of the military a lot in like my videos, but like when you're going through it, it's special, you know?
It is. It's so special.
It is. We can make fun of it though.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is, but it is special and you can also make fun of it. Doesn't mean I don't love it.
Right.
If I wouldn't let anyone that doesn't hit the criteria of like being qualified to talk about the culture. Whoa, don't you dare. Like, whoa.
The culture.
Yeah. It is a culture. It really is.
Yeah.
There's different levels of it. There's some, there's like, kind of the surface level stuff and like, which is basically like everyone, there's like common shared experiences and then it just starts breaking down to like individualized.
Yeah.
Right. And the infantry experience is its own.
Yeah.
And I think there's nothing like it because unlike, special operations and stuff, it really is just a hodgepodge of people from all over the country who have no other connection other than they all joined the military.
Yeah, it's sick.
And then hopefully they can all come together in time to deploy to war.
Yeah, dude.
And they're
it's the most like American. Like,
it's the most American
it's the
thing.
Americans what like it's
dude,
what George Washington dreamed about. Dude.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah, because like everything else, people were like selected and picked and like filtered out or whatever. But like it's just like people from the Northeast, South, Texas, wherever. And they're just like, okay, now like each other. Figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully it works. Time will tell. Hopefully you have somebody like Sonny Actual leading you across the fields of battle, and we will talk about your time in the military, what you're doing now, when we come back. Hope you guys are enjoying the episode. If you want to continue to hear more stories like this and to help us grow the podcast, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and to also drop a rating and review. Every bit helps. Thank you so much. Now let's get back to the episode. And we're back now with my favorite Army officer of all time, Sonny Actual. Sonny Actual, sorry.
I don't know if people will get the Eric inside jokes.
I love that we're making it a bit. I don't care. He'll love it. He'll definitely be jazzed about Echelon. If you want to succeed on the field of battle and on the field of life and you're looking for lightning in a bottle, go to echelon.com, get you some today. There you go, buddy. What if it's that'd be great. No, so speaking of taking off, you took off directly to an infantry platoon.
Yeah.
Where were you stationed at? And tell me what it's like.
Yeah, so to connect dots, I did infantry officer school, did ranger school, which like every infantry officer is like, you're not like required to go, but it's highly suggested.
Yeah.
It's like a voluntary school is what they call it. But
allegedly,
they basically tell you all of infantry officer school. If you don't pass ranger school, you should just off yourself. That's like that's like how you feel.
Really? It's that bad? Are you a ranger?
I am ranger qualified.
No, don't do that.
I know some of the dudes. Oh, you weren't in ranger regiment. I know.
What is it? There's a tab and a scroll. Is that the thing?
Yeah. The thing is like people will always like knock on guys with Ranger tabs saying they're not real Rangers. It's like, dude, I went to school with real Rangers. Like I know the difference.
Yeah. Did
know?
you go? That would be my first question. If someone was like, well, you're a tab, I'd be like, what did you go? And they're like, yeah.
That school, dude, that was the first time because I'd seen Ranger School and Surviving the Cut.
Yeah.
And like to be in it, I was like, this is some real, like,
I've heard things.
It's probably still the hardest thing one of the hardest things I've ever done. Like, there's this phase called mountain phase. Won't spend too much time on this, but
yeah,
mountain phase is like, there's 3 phases. Mountain phase is the middle phase. And that's the first time I was like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
Like you're walking up mountains, 2 hours, 1 hour sleep a night. You're eating like 2 MREs a day and you're probably burning like 3,000, 4,000 like you're so starved that you could like smell the ammonia from your like muscles.
That's what happens overseas.
Yeah.
That your camis will get so like heavy with salt that I remember we would like dry them out and they would be stiff.
Yeah. But it was like a super rewarding experience because outside of deploying, like that's the only thing that in the Army, like they can show that, okay, are you going to volunteer to do something like this? You know what I mean? Without deploying. So, graduated, had a little bit of an extended stay,
Yeah. Okay.
Failed patrols a few times, but,
What phase?
dude, I recycled every phase one time.
Hell,
so
really?
anything is possible.
So you went through twice.
I basically did, and in the winter too. Like it's so cold, you'd be trying to undo the knots, and your fingers would just be like blistering, like cracked open, just be like bleeding. And I remember
I should be in a lab right now.
I remember this like weird moment where I realized why every like old religion had like the sun as their god because it was so cold. And I remember the sun like going down over the horizon and like feeling the temperature drop right away. And I was like, no, come back.
Come back. Yeah.
And I remember I had that like thought right in my head. I was like, oh, I see why they worship the sun.
Yeah. It's all become clear to me now.
Yeah. Ended up graduating. And then I got stationed in Alaska.
Brother.
Yeah, dude. I remember everyone like being so excited about their duty stations. Like, oh, dude, I got Italy. I got like Germany, all these cool places, Hawaii, even Fort Campbell. And I was like, Alaska? I was like, is that somewhere here? Like,
yeah.
Up. Yeah. And not even the cool, there's 2 Alaska bases, not even the cool one, which is the airborne like unit in Anchorage. I got stationed at Fairbanks, Fort Wainwright. Yeah, created by the devil, dude.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's like interior Alaska. It got like negative 60, 70 in the winter. Wild place.
I mean, for real? Negative 60?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that looks like.
Dude, it's a different level of pain.
I'm not doing that.
So I show up, I do that infantry, expert infantryman badge was going on. It's like this series of like 3 weeks. Like he probably knows, like you do a bunch of like technical stuff, load a machine gun, blah, blah, blah. And
It's mostly like skill level 1, 2 tasks.
And like, that's when I ended up running to that drill sergeant I was talking about. And he ended up pinning the blue rifle on my, which is like so cool. I couldn't have like scripted that he would have showed up to Alaska and been one of the instructors.
So sick. I'm going to enlist after this.
That's also a big deal too.
Yeah.
Like in the infantry world, like graduating basic training is fucking awesome. Ranger school, awesome.
Right.
Getting your EIB, awesome. Like, so you're checking all those boxes, man.
Yeah.
You're riding high. Everything you start, you're finishing. So
yeah, say it with your chest, dude.
Yeah,
come on.
Dude.
Yeah.
UIB, dude.
There it is. There he is. There's Sonny.
So I show up and I was in like staff for like 1 month, which like it's common for a lot of officers where you do.
Did you call them
like,
pogues the whole time?
Dude, you feel like a pogue. Like you're just doing like, I remember because I just gone through a year and a half of like sleeping in the woods, like doing all this stuff. And then all of a sudden I'm like getting yelled at because my PowerPoint format was wrong. And I was like, what is going on?
Listen up, nerd.
Yeah. Thankfully, I only really ever spent like 1 month in staff. Then I got my platoon.
How was that?
Dude, it's a lot when you show up because like you're the new guy, you're young, you're like younger than the, E6s, staff sergeants who have like deployed, like, done real shit. And of course they always look at you like, oh, I'm the new lieutenant, And I think the first 2 months were pretty rough because took me a while to like get it. You know what I mean? Like it takes a while to figure out like, okay, what does the commander tell me to do that I actually have, you know what I mean? Because
you're a buffer. Your job is to buffer.
Yeah, in the beginning, you just feel like you're just a messenger from the commander. Like, I guess we got to do this. And then your guys are like, that sounds stupid.
Shut the fuck up, sir.
But then you also can't tell if like, are they just trying to get out of work? You know what I mean? It's like a hard, like.
No, a good leader is a buffer for the troops and for the command.
Yeah. Thankfully, I had, and he hated me at first, I think, really didn't like me. This, my weapons squad leader, badass dude, Ranger tabbed, was in best Ranger competition.
Whoa.
And he didn't really like, he's like, who's this skinny, like, guy showing up. And then we did this like 3-week, like almost month-long field problem in Alaska and like Alaskan wilderness. And like after that, with the amount of like bullshit we had to put up with.
Yeah.
And I think that's when my platoon like got to see like how I actually am.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of stuff where I was like, yeah, I don't think we're gonna do like that's dumb.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that. Yeah.
Yeah. And
that's
after
a good
that,
lieutenant.
after that, like I won them over, I think.
Yeah.
And then did a year with them. And then got selected to be a mortar platoon leader. So like specialty platoon.
Yep.
So you either take over scout platoon, or a mortar platoon in the Army. And I got the mortar platoon, had a badass platoon sergeant. Dude, this guy was in his like early 40s running like 40, 50 miles, like just who you'd think of as like just a badass, like dude had like a 6-pack. It was like, what the, like,
yeah. Like this reminds me of being out with the boys in Columbus.
Not your traditional mortarman.
Yeah. And that platoon was awesome, dude. Loved because this was like headquarters. And so like he basically kicked off everyone he didn't like or he thought was like a shitbag to the line companies. And so we just had like the best, like, and our PT was like hard, which like, as he was saying, is not common in a mortar platoon.
No, mortar guys aren't known for PT.
This dude was just built, dude, this guy's from a different planet. He had like deployed 2005 in Iraq, like Purple Heart, like 2010 in Afghanistan, and was just like, you couldn't tell him, like,
couldn't tell him shit.
Yeah, old school NCO too.
Yeah.
Like just badass.
Real
dude.
hands-on approach, huh?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, come here. Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean that's my bread and butter.
Yeah.
I'm down. You've had me.
Yeah.
I mean, most mortar guys are known for playing spades, not known for PT.
Dude, this was not his style.
It's not
like he was hardcore.
If I see
dude.
deck of cards, I'll make you eat it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then I deployed with them. We somehow like, this is by the time I joined, like when I took over this mortar platoon 2019. So war is like pretty much like there was not a whole lot going on. Like the mission was like training, like the local forces. And so we were pretty, I wouldn't say lucky because I don't want to like speak for other people's deployments, but to get that experience, like it was not, all of us were surprised when they were like, hey, you guys are deploying to Iraq. We're like, we are? Like our Alaskan unit
They're
is?
still in Iraq?
Yeah, that's how we felt too.
Yeah.
And so I go over to Iraq with them and that was its own like interesting, I mean, it wasn't like your deployment, anything, but it was like interesting experience just to be over there for a year with your guys. We got to be on a COP for a little while.
Hell
It was probably one of the last like COP.
It might still be there.
No, we shut it down when we were there.
Hell yeah.
Al-Qaim.
Yeah?
I don't know how to say it.
I don't either.
Al-Qaim. It was dude, that place looked like Call of Duty map. It was like this blown out train station because it used to be an ID factory for ISIS. And like we bombed the shit out of it and then
Hell yeah.
and then took it over.
Hell yeah. That's how we spread democracy.
Yeah. That place was cool. And for whatever reason, there wasn't like the mission there was mostly like tower guard.
Yeah.
We took some IDF and like, there was an IED that went off one time, waxed this Iraqi guy.
That counts. That's all combat. That's literally it.
Dude, they went over and investigated like a white truck by itself on the side of the road.
Shoot it.
And they like went over and like tried to open the door and then of course it went off and then it killed 2 guys instantly and then
it was an abandoned Hilux, most likely.
Yeah.
An abandoned Toyota Hilux.
I was like, dude, we've been at war for how long? You haven't learned that?
Then they opened the door. I would have put an AT4 through it.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, like, I don't know if it's because my platoon sergeant was this like hardcore guy who'd done like light stuff most of his career, but they put us this quick response force in Al-Qaim, which I thought was hilarious because we're these mortar guys.
It's not traditionally QRF.
But dude, that month, there was a month, and it was like December of 2019, where the weather was perfect in Iraq. It was like 70 degrees. It wasn't like no sandstorms. There was no like, weird stuff. And like, there was not a whole lot going on. And we had this like little compound within the COP.
Yeah.
And like, dude, we had our own like weights. We were watching like Eastbound and Down. Like
probably the greatest.
Dude, that was one of my peak human experiences.
That and vice principals?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when I kind of first started like making the videos actually. So I had this GoPro out there, I didn't get any like cool firefight footage, but like I would just take like funny videos of us like working out and like I would edit them and I'd show them to my guys. And I was like, whatever this feeling is of like me creating these videos and them enjoying it, I was like, I want to keep like, I want to do
that.
this. Yeah.
I want that.
And then that kind of like inspired me to like, I was like,
is that when you made Chet?
No, Chet came later.
Okay, yeah. I'm
Chet's-
deep on the Sonny lore. I'm deep,
Yeah,
dude.
Chet's my redneck character.
Yeah.
So the
Go
deployment
ahead. Go
ends.
talk about how you're stealing my culture. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that was like my first trigger for like, I think I want to do something like this after
It
I
is
get
cool
out.
creating a thing.
It is.
And people being like, that was great.
Yeah, and it's
And
like your
no
own
one knows
idea.
what it's like because it's a secret. I say this all the time. Content is a secret you have, and then you share it with the world. It's like opening up your heart, kind of, and then being like, and they're like, this is the dumbest fucking thing, or that's fucking great.
Yeah,
And
that's a cool
there's
way of
no,
saying it.
there's no like, hey, good job. It's hard to create stuff. It's hard to be vulnerable. It's one
Right.
or the other.
So yeah, that was the first like trigger for that. We finished off our deployment. We had COVID happen while we were on deployment, so we got extended out there. Funny enough, all the IDF stopped. Like indirect fire stopped because the round was like hit super hard with COVID. So like they were the guys bombing us through their like paramilitary, like
Oh.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was funny. Like our mission was to fight ISIS, but like by the time we were there, ISIS was actually al-Baghdadi was waxed while we were over there.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah. Mike,
Beautiful dogs. Yeah.
Pence came and spoke at our base and was like, just to, I guess hype up the troops or whatever. And finished out the deployment. At this point, I was kind of over going like special forces or something. I was like, I think I want to get out and like do this video stuff.
Well, you've hit all the buckets.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I had anything to prove to anyone anymore.
Yeah.
A lot of guys stay in and like chase the dragon, as they say, of like trying to be in that like epic firefight. And I was like, dude, the war is over. I don't really want to go to special forces for the only reason to just wear a green beret. You know what I mean? Not that I necessarily would have made it. I didn't go, but
well, the thing too people forget is it doesn't matter. Eventually, you can't operate.
yeah,
That was one of the decisions that one of the factors that played in my decision. It was like, no matter what, eventually I'm just going to be counting stuff. I'll be like a staff guy somewhere. Be
Yeah,
like,
true.
1, 2. You only get the small amount of time to operate. And
yeah,
then-
As an officer, it's even shorter.
yeah,
dude,
I was
it's so
about-
short.
yeah,
Your
you-
staff time
beat me
comes
to it.
fast.
yeah. Then all of a sudden you're doing like
Who wants-
equipment layouts.
Yeah, fuck that. Who cares if you're at the Green Berets, if you're just like counting like M4s or whatever, or like, cool, yeah. Did you guys have fun? Great. I'll be talking about it in a report somewhere. Like, that's a nightmare.
So yeah, I had nothing like I want to do with that. I wanted to do something with the video, just something creative. And I had a year left in Alaska. That's when some of these characters came out. Because I
Chet.
knew, Chet, who's
Well,
this
I was
like
insert Chet
redneck.
here, dude. Chet's the boy.
Come on, guys, it's Chad here. Just checking in. I haven't talked to you guys in a while. Just out here sitting in my truck. Just currently out of gas because it's so damn expensive to fill it up, And people are like, Chet, why do you drive a truck? You just use it to go buy lotto tickets, What am I supposed to do? Walk everywhere? Come on.
Redneck character who's like, I think I always change the story slightly, but he's like a guy who talks about all his deployment stories.
Yeah.
But then always reminds, he's like, these aren't actually my stories. They're my platoon sergeants.
Yeah.
But I feel like I was there. you know?
Yeah, he does.
Which is based on something I always talk about is Yarmouth Traffic Circle, because my platoon sergeant would talk about that.
Okay.
Shout out Yarmouth Traffic Circle, Mosul, 2005.
Okay.
And that's one of Chet's like little catchphrases, like Yarmouth Traffic Circle, Mosul, 2005. What you know about that?
Yeah,
He's
what
like,
you know
wasn't
about
there.
it? Wasn't there. My platoon sergeant
Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Which anyone who's watching this who was in Mosul that era would know Yarmouth Traffic Circle. It was like Sniper Central or whatever. From what I hear, I wasn't there.
Yeah, I wasn't there either. I was still in high school.
Yeah, I was 10 years old.
Yeah, coward.
So yeah, do another year, and then at this point, I was like, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out. So the classic officer thing to do is to like do an MBA.
Hell yeah!
And I still have my GI Bill, so I was like, screw it, I'm gonna do an MBA. I don't want to be homeless when I get out.
Yeah.
Iraq war veteran.
What are you saying?
So
It's Afghanistan war veteran, but yeah.
I was talking about me.
Oh,
yeah, veteran.
Because I literally have an MBA and I literally hold up signs.
You're not homeless.
Yet.
Not yet.
My villain era is around the corner.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So I get into MBA in New York. I was super stoked about that, especially after Alaska, where like I was single guy, still single, but
Still very single.
you don't need to add the very.
No, not very. Still very available.
Yeah. But like being a single guy in Alaska is horrible. There's like no women. Literally no women. The ratio of like guys to girls is like 10-1. So getting into like New York, I was like, dude, I need to be in like a city. I need to just be in like real life. That's about the time.
He's laughing.
Yeah, me too. Being Alaskan in your early 20s is like, it's an unnatural like
I love how you're like, it's unnatural.
It's unnatural.
All I'm thinking
dude.
about is a TikTok right now, and we'll have Blas put it in of like, we're from Alaska, and the way the people look is.
Dude, it's
the
crazy.
comment-
It's crazy.
It's not great.
I used to drive to Anchorage, which was 7 hours away, just to like, hook up with people because that's how like
7 hours?
7 hours through the mountains.
Brother.
Yeah.
You should have chartered a bush plane or something. 7 hours. That's a commitment. That's a
dude.
day in limbo you don't have.
Yeah. Dude, I was down bad.
That's one way to say it. You were down bad up north for sure.
You had to. There was no girls in Fairbanks, So around the time I got out was when I first started posting. That's when I posted my first. I'd made videos before this of like my Alaska content, like cool videos like that. But in terms of the content that people know me about know me from like Sunny actual stuff.
Yeah.
I'd gotten out and then I'd made my first video, which is like shit commanders say. Like company commanders say.
Incredible.
And that like blew up overnight on TikTok, I think. And it got like 70, 80,000 views. And I was like it blew my mind. I was like, people want to, I just made it to like try to share with my friends.
Yeah.
And I was like, because I knew all my friends would think it's like funny. They'd be like, they would know who I'm talking about with like each character.
Yeah.
And then it blew up and like, I was just like, oh, I have a lot more stories to like, like make fun of it. And it just kept going from there.
Yeah, I think that was the first one I saw. That was, I mean, I don't know how big it is. It's huge. And then I saw your Be a Man pieces.
Parodies, yeah, that really blew me up too.
Everyone did Be a Man stuff for a while. Those guys are actually really cool too. And I'm trying to think of the other one I saw of yours. There's so many. They're all like prolific actually.
Thank you.
Like my favorite one right now is the one where you're like, I used to be somebody. And you're
the
looking
depressed veteran. That blew up. Yeah. Yeah.
It's just so great.
Yeah.
You catch all the little things. You're like, yeah, I used to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you say something like, but yeah, my wife wants to go on vacation, so I work here now or something. You say something like that. And I was just like, oh, I feel seen. Like,
yeah, well, I think I transitioned from, so I did a lot of active duty related content.
Mhm.
Now it's mostly, because I'm been out almost 3 years now, so it's not as like authentic to think about.
Yeah.
It's a lot of like veteran. It's moving to like more like veteran experience type stuff because it is unique to like go through that experience and then you get out and you're like, of course you're like making fun of it as you get out. You know, you're cynical a little bit. Everyone is when they get out. And then you kind of look back on it and you're like, oh, this is like super different than,
This is crazy.
And then
when you think
comparing
about
that to like the civilian world, you're like, you can look back on it, be like, whoa, that's like super weird that we did that or super funny or whatever. So I've just kept going with that.
And what are your plans as you continue to grow the Sunny actual world?
Yeah, I went through a little phase a while back where I was like, so I was doing a lot of active duty stuff and I was like, man, I don't like care about the active duty stuff as much, like it's not as authentic. But then I started making like more veteran stuff and even just not even necessarily military related or like active duty, stuff, but just stuff that like people in that world would find funny. So I did like a video about like Toyota Hiluxes recently, actually. Yeah. Like how Toyota sells to like terrorists.
They do. They're aware.
And that video blew up, got like 1 million views. And I was like, okay, this is like not a specifically military video or like for active duty. So I think that's like my goal with that stuff is just like whatever I think is funny that I can like make fun of, I'll do that. Yeah. And then we'll see where it goes. I'm thinking of trying stand up this summer. We'll see how that goes. No plans with that either. But
if you do it, I'll do it too.
Yeah,
it's
I'm
like
just gonna stack the audience with all my friends, so I don't like
good
laugh
because then we'll rotate.
Yeah,
I told Blas this, and I just got back from the Austin with the mothership. Like it, I want to do it so bad.
I think Zany's has something where they do like new
open
content
mic night
nights
or something.
Like
Yeah, I know if you guys have said something, it's like on Monday or something
yeah,
like that.
I think it's Monday. It's like new content nights or something like
I think
that.
it'd be a good like because a lot of times I feel like what holds me back is not even like a lack of ideas, but just like
having your channel get shut down.
Oh, not necessarily that, but just like people. What if people don't like this? And like you can like go down the trajectory. So I feel like if I can stand up in front of people I don't know and like whether it goes well or not, it's like okay, you're invincible after that.
Yeah. Well, and it's just it's cool to actually be in a room and just chopping it up.
Yeah.
Like I have a bunch of ideas I can't ever say that I want to say. They're not bad. They're not derogatory. They're not mean. But
yeah, you could do that in stand up.
you can't do them online is what I'll say,
I see what you're
because
saying.
like it's complicated issues, but
Right.
like real comedy like talks about complicated issues in a lighthearted way.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
almost back though. It's almost back.
We're
I feel
so
like that
close.
pendulum's swinging back.
We're so close.
Tom
Yeah,
Brady's roast.
Tom Brady's
Yeah,
roast.
yeah, that's funny.
that's basically the stuff I want to do, is stuff like that.
Yeah.
But all those people, they're here to make fun of Tom Brady. That's fine. But the Tony Hinchcliffe part in particular, where he roasts everyone,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I want to do that so bad.
Yeah.
I want to do that so bad.
Yeah. I think I'll have like no plans with it. Like just, like I did with the videos, like I never expected them to like blow up or
Yeah.
anything. I just had fun with it. I tend to find that if I like think too hard about like the, the process or whatever,
Yeah.
like I've got to do this and it's got to lead here. It never works out for some reason.
Never.
I think that's one of the reasons the Army experience is like I hit, like you were saying, thank you. I hit every benchmark was because
You did.
I didn't go in with any expectation of like, I didn't go in being like, like a lot of West Point RTC guys do, because they're like in that system where like from like sophomore, I'll get DMs from guys like, how do I pass Ranger school? I'm like, that are in RTC. I'm like, dude, just talk to girls, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't worry about that stuff, dude. Like, chill out, dude.
Yeah, like you're so worried about stuff before you even get there.
Yeah, and I feel like
just talk to girls.
that's what helped me in the Army thing, because I did each thing like there's something about like 12. A lot of the Army schools are like 12 weeks. There's something like magic about that number. It's like the right amount of time where like
Same with the Marine Corps. They're all like that.
yeah, it's just the right amount of time where it just doesn't drag on too long. But
Yeah.
that was my whole Army thing. Basic, okay, maybe I'll do infantry after. Okay, infantry. Okay, Ranger school's next. But I didn't go in with like I have to be a Special Forces commander. It's all for nothing. You know.
I want
And
to get
that's
divorced.
probably what a lot of these West Point dudes come in with, man. It's like those crazy expectations, whether it was like
A lot of it's out of
following
your
in a
control,
family's
yeah.
footsteps, like, or just what you're taught there based on like people who are instructing you. You have these like images of what an infantry officer looks like, or,
Right.
and you're just trying to do your best to like uphold that prestige of West Point. So you come into everything that you do with all these expectations. And man, it could either set you up for failure or set you up for success. It just depends on the individual. But I think the way you approached it was great, man. You're just like, hey, this is the task that's in front of me. I'll wait till I get there. Hey, if it happens, cool. If it doesn't, like, we'll
I'm
just keep going.
trying to do that now. Yeah, with my like comedy, because I think, and even with my brand, like,
Tell us about your brand.
yeah, it's Zuvier, ZuvierLifestyle.com. Really sick. Not a veteran. Like, I try to make it a veteran thing in the beginning. And
If you wear this brand, these clothing materials, you
Yeah.
will talk to girls.
yeah, you will.
Yeah. And girls will talk to you.
It's like an adventure, like swimwear. I'm dropping sunglasses actually. I gotta get you in one, high quality. So check out the site. But yeah, just not having an expectation for like where I'm going has really helped, because then I can just have fun and then just focus on like, okay, just making the next video better. Whereas like
Yeah.
Right.
if I make a video and it flops or whatever, and I think too far ahead and I'm like, oh my God, this one's gonna flop. And then like, the next 10.
Well, and that's the thing too. What's weird too is like you'll make something, and I've noticed this lately, and I'm sure you have it too, is I'll make a video in particular and it'll flop in the first 24 hours, jump cut
yeah,
the next
sometimes that'll
48
happen.
hours, and like 10,000 likes.
Right.
What are we talking about?
Yeah.
Like that was like you honestly never know what hits the lane,
Right.
and you have so little control over it.
Yeah. I think business school was really bad about this, because I like got out and was like really trusting of like all the opinions of like the people at business school, because like I was my first time like in the civilian world, you know?
Yeah.
And a lot of their mindset, and I guess it makes sense for those types of businesses, is very like plan oriented. It's like if this, whatever you're doing doesn't seem to match like the end goal you had, you should probably like do something else. And like, for whatever reason, that mindset doesn't work with me, dude. I just got to like start here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just see where it goes.
We should. That's the
Yeah.
whole point. You learn along the way.
So we'll see if stand-up goes somewhere. No idea. I think it'll just be fun. Like
That's all.
enough people have like DM me asking me if I'm doing a show in their city. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yeah.
I haven't even done like,
I just-
where I'm like, all right, I got to try it at least once.
I wanted to do it to try and grow in my ability to understand comedy.
Yeah. I think
That's my main.
stand-up is one of the hardest, I think, like forms, because in a skit, which is what I do, like I can edit out the bits. I can
Yeah.
like say it again, whereas like to be in front of an audience and be like, so nobody laughed.
Yeah.
Have you heard
So
Dana?
the economy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, and it's hard too, because like this it's just it's hard to communicate to people when you're in a public platform like that. Cause I've done a lot of speeches and stuff and I know like stories that they'll like.
Yeah.
So I've done it enough times to where I'm like, they're going to love this. They're going to love this.
Right.
They're going to love my French reporter story about the time I saved a French guy's life, took the cell phone from him, called home to find out my daughter was being born. If you don't like that, you don't like the red, white, and blue, baby. There's stuff like that. But like stand up is something like when I see people do it, I'm like, oh, it kind of scares the shit out of me.
Which is why I
want to do it.
Yeah. I have the same feeling
I'm
about
like,
it, dude.
what if I get up there and it's like,
That's why you got to do it.
Yeah, because I've never had that experience. Like, because when they're like, hey, today we have Zachary Bell. You might know. Like,
he's veteran with a sign.
He's veteran with a sign. If you follow him, you know him. Like they're like they invited me there. It's a whole different thing as opposed to like. So I was at a gas station.
The mic feedback sound.
And I'm just like, then I turn into the Joker. That's how I become the villain. Like I go up there, and I just go crazy. I become Joaquin Phoenix.
We could stack.
Fine,
it up.
we'll do it. I know. I actually, what's his name? AJ Wilkerson. He's a comedian. He does a lot of stuff at Zany's.
Nice.
Him and Sydney and Thomas. They're a bunch of people I've met recently who like I can feel myself getting pulled towards it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because I like he's smiling at me. I like that they're rebellious enough to try it. And they're like, yeah, part of it's bombing. And I'm like, for real? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, I don't want that. I need positive.
Just stacked audience to your friends, dude.
Have you ever heard Dana White speak about it?
Mm-mm.
Oh man, he gives his his experience on the Tom Brady roast. He says he'll never do it again. He was on Flagrant with Andrew Schultz.
Yeah.
Watch that episode with Dana White, man.
Yeah.
The thing is, every great, like even Bill Burr, you hear some of his horror, stories about bombing where he's in a college cafeteria and
But he's most famous for the Philadelphia thing.
Yeah.
This fucking town's a fucking worst.
Yeah.
You don't even have any real heroes. You're so fucking dumb.
Yeah. I think it'd be a good experience. Like if I can go in front, I'm almost like, I'm not hoping I bomb, but it's like if I can deal with that, then like a lot of this stuff I feel like I've been held back by, even with the brand, like putting out my like content. It's like, what if people say mean? I mean, it still affects me, even with the followers I have now. Like if people say mean stuff and you can go up and talk in front of a bunch of drunk people. You can probably do anything. So.
I mean, but honestly, you've led troops in combat. You've done everything else. You have. That's stop. Don't downplay it. I will make a scene. And you've done so much. And Blas said it. Like you literally learn the secret of the military, which is if you keep going, you will succeed. Which is basically all of life. Yeah. Like you just have to learn the lessons along the way. You'll take some L's, but if you quit, you'll never forgive yourself for quitting.
Yeah.
Like that's just it. Like you have to, and that's in everything I do now. Like I don't, my measure of success is that I tried. That's all that really matters to me. Cause when the good Lord does finally call me home, I won't be like, oh, I wish I'd done one other thing. I'm going to go out swinging.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
Cause that's the point of life is to do things you enjoy. Right.
Yeah.
Like you said, you saw it with your dad, like someone who loved going to work every day.
Yeah, dude.
That's the goal. The goal is like loving to go to work every night, being like, yeah, so I think we can hit this quarter's projections if we just, we really rally around each other and we get on a good glide path. We'll be able to do what we are able to do best. That's it for me. I'm going to go back on mute. Thank you guys. That's not the goal.
Yeah.
It's not the goal. The goal is to be happy.
I agree, dude.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
You're getting there and I'm going to follow you. You're my type of officer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, dude.
High marks here. Is there anything else as we're closing out you want to say? Any parting marks?
No, thank you for anyone that does follow me or checks out my page, Sunny Actual, comedy stuff, Zuvier lifestyle, totally unrelated. It's like a very like travel related, swimwear, sunglasses. Check it out if you want. If you don't like it, it's all good. And dude, thanks for having me on, man. It's always a good time.
It's an honor and privilege. Thank you so much for joining us. That's all for us, and we'll catch you on the next one.